I do.
You do. Okay, you may be seated. Witnesses, please stand. Raise your right hand. Do you all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yeah,
I do.
All right, you may be seated. Audience, do you understand that you are about to watch a mock trial?
Yes.
Audience, are we excited?
Yes.
All right.
I'll put a paper on that table.
Get it.
Oops.
Fish, it's professional time. Judge Rowe. All right, I understand there are pretrial matters to attend to. May I get appearances from the state?
Hello, Your Honor. My name is Sarah Gray, and I am on the prosecution side representing the state of Illinois.
Okay, may I be introduced to your co-counsel?
Yes.
Hopefully. I'm Chris Kyle.
All right. Defense, appearances?
I am Elizabeth Qualls, and I will be representing the defendant Alex Buckley, and this is
Fish.
Valerie Whitten.
All right, and Mr. Buckley, please stand, address the court. Mr. Buckley, you stand accused of first-degree murder and arson. Do you understand the charges that are brought forth to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you will be present during your trial, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may be seated. All right, pre-trial matters?
Your Honor, how may I move around about the courtroom?
Ask before doing anything.
Okay.
Ask my permission before approaching opposing counsel. If you need to approach the bench, ask my permission. If you need to approach the jury, ask permission. If you need to approach any witness, ask permission. During speeches, the well is yours. Move freely throughout it.
Your Honor, may we assume that the witnesses will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
May we invoke Rule 615 by assuming the other witnesses will constructively be excluded from other witness testimonies?
Yes, all witnesses, barring your party representative, Mr. Buckley, who will be present in the courtroom at all times, shall be assumed constructively sequestered.
May we assume that the jury will constructively be excluded from objection battles?
Yes, jury, you will not take into account the objection battles that you were heard. I will give you instructions as to what you are allowed to deliberate on.
That'll be all.
All right. State, are you ready? Let's rock and roll.
May I proceed?
Wait. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I represent the state of Illinois in the case of the people of Illinois v. Alex Buckley. We are here today because this man fought and murdered an innocent girl. You know, it makes sense that he would do this, considering that there was a full college scholarship on the line. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Mr. Buckley did not only want that college scholarship, he needed it. See, as of right now, his family's not the best of financial situations. He needed that college scholarship to go to a good college, get a good job, get good money. Now, while a college scholarship isn't enough to convict someone of murder, so me and my co-counsel will present to you his means, the moment, and his motive. Now, his means. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Mr. Buckley works at a gas station. His easy access to the accelerant that started the fire. Okay? Now, not only that, but the defense will try to tell you that it was almost impossible for him to make it from his job to Miss Walsh's dorm. But I'll prove to you that there was a large time gap that he could have made. He also runs cross country. Ladies and gentlemen, in cross country, it's a sport in which they train you to run long distances, short amount of time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to his moment. Let me paint you a picture. It's late at night. You know, all the seniors are at the final dance, like prom. You know, Alex Buckley's working a late shift. There's only one other employee in that gas station with him. See, he sees his opportunity and he takes it. See, little did Mr. Buckley know that Miss Pope, Mrs. Walsh's best friend, was going to be in that room with her. See, he didn't know that Miss Dakota Pope was going to jump out of a window. He didn't know that she was going to testify in court today. He didn't know that Miss Dakota Pope was going to watch the perpetrator leave the scene. He didn't know that Miss Dakota Pope was going to see what believed to be Alex Buckley. You see, let's move on to his motive. See, the same witness, Miss Dakota Pope, will tell you that Mr. Buckley said some pretty concerning comments towards Carly Walsh. Not only comments, but actions towards Miss Walsh. See, you will hear from Mr. Hayden Rodriguez. You will hear from him that just days before Miss Walsh was murdered, that Mr. Buckley sent some pretty concerning emails towards, concerning Miss Walsh. See, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as the prosecution, we have the burden of proof. We have to prove to you that beyond a reasonable doubt, Mr. Buckley killed Carly Walsh. See, my co-counsel and I intend to do that with every piece of evidence that this case gives us. See, we intend to open your eyes and show you how Mr. Buckley is guilty. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it makes sense from the means to the moment to the motive. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Give us 1 second. Defense, are you prepared for an opening statement?
Yes, ma'am.
You may proceed.
May it please the court, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that Alex Buckley stands here today falsely accused of first-degree arson and first-degree murder. The police were shooting blindly, and Alex was the easiest target. He grew up in a low-income household, and he struggled with many things, but school was not one of them. The district high school, Lake City High, is a dangerous place that doesn't offer many advanced classes. So when the opportunity to attend Prairie Lake Preparatory Academy arose, he was determined to have a better future at Prairie Lake Prep. He wanted nothing more than to be successful. Being a scholarship student, Alex had to work hard. He had to do his best, and he did. Balancing science Olympiad, cross country, and a job, Alex quickly rose to the top of his class. Although he was merely passed in class rank by Carly Walsh, that only made him work harder. Friday, May 18th, Alex Buckley was walking to school from work that night when he smelled smoke. Thinking it was nothing, he continued to walk to his dorm when he was stopped by the police. He was quickly blamed for Carly Walsh's murder because of his determination to succeed and work hard. Within 1 day, he was arrested. The police were shooting blindly, and Alex was the easiest target. First, you will hear from the prosecution's witnesses. You'll hear from 3 witnesses on their side. One who will testify to Alex's past issues with a look that is substantially more prejudiced than probative. Another will testify that they think they saw Alex that night at the scene of the fire, though her vision was biased and blurred. The last will attempt to explain a rushed examination of the fire. They were shooting blindly for answers, a suspect, a reason, and Alex Buckley was the easiest target. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defense will call 3 witnesses to the stand. The first witness, Mr. Jordan Calvin, will testify to Alex Buckley's excellent work ethic, his drive, and his positive character. Our second witness is Mr. Alex Buckley, who will tell you the events of that night of the fire and prove that he didn't start that fire. Last, you will hear from Dr. Kennedy Felder, who will tell you that after extensive examinations, profiling, and tests, that Alex Buckley did not commit this horrible crime. The prosecution must prove that Alex Buckley is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And if you, the jury, will have some doubt to these accusations, you cannot find Alex Buckley guilty.
All right, thank you, counsel. All right. State, are you prepared to call your first witness?
Yes. We would like to call Hayden Rodriguez.
All right. Mr. Rodriguez, please take the stand. You understand you've been sworn in?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Sir Scott, your honor, better.
May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am, you may.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your name?
My name is Hayden Rodriguez.
What is your occupation?
I am a counselor at Prairie Lake Preparatory Academy.
What is your relationship to the defendant?
He is one of the about 150 students that I am responsible for counseling.
Okay. Why are you here today?
I'm here today because Alex Buckley committed arson and killed Carly Walsh.
Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions about the defendant, Alex Buckley.
That's fine.
Could you explain how Alex got into Prairie Lake Preparatory Academy?
I had a diversity program. I started it because the school was getting bad press about it not having diversity. So in 2014, he applied to the program and he was let in because of his his great academic accomplishments.
Did Alex have any academic goals?
He wanted to get, at first I wasn't sure, but I told him about the Williamson Award, and that was a full paid scholarship to a college of his choice, and he seemed excited, so as far as I know, that was his only goal.
Okay. Was anything or anyone in his way of achieving his goals?
At first, not really, but then during senior year, Carly Walsh got ahead of him, so yes, she was in his way.
Okay. Do you know where Alex was working throughout high school?
When he was about 16, he picked up a job at a guess and go about a mile from school.
Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions about the emails between you and the defendant.
That's fine.
May I enter some evidence?
Yeah, show opposing counsel first. Who's crossing? You may approach the witness.
Did these look the same as the last time you seen them?
Yes.
Is there any markings, stray marks, or anything?
No.
Okay. May I enter this into evidence?
Yeah, once he identifies what the document is.
What is this document?
These are emails between Alex Buckley and I during late April and May.
Okay. May I enter this into evidence?
Alright, any objections?
No.
Okay, please stand.
Okay.
Alright, so entered. You may publish to the jury.
Did Alex ever miss or skip any of your meetings?
Yes.
Okay. Could you please turn to page 59 in the evidence? Did Alex state why he missed these meetings? Please read it out loud.
My scholarship is going to be fine. After this weekend, Carly Walsh won't matter to me at all. Spent too much time this year letting Carly get the best of me, when I really just need to take matters into my own hands this whole time. No need to meet, I have work anyway. Alex.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Alright.
I was gonna.
Hit the middle button, Kayla. Yeah.
Jury, why was she the one that went over there?
Yeah, we need that
I'm
in
messing.
the
I'm messing. I'm
email.
messing. No. Alright, you ready? Alright.
Alex was emotionally stressed after his spot at the top of the class was taken, right? Alex started avoiding your meetings, right?
Correct.
Did you try to personally intervene with him? Right, you tried to personally intervene with him, right?
No, I sent him emails.
So you did not try to personally intervene with him, even though he was emotionally stressed after his spot at the top of the class was taken.
No, I tried to email because I thought that would be the quickest twice to get in personal contact, but he declines.
So you only sent Alex an email to check in on him?
I sent multiple, and he said he was fine, but I was concerned.
You didn't see or hear from Alex during the 3-week period before Carly Walsh's death, correct?
I saw him a few times in and out of classes around my office.
I'd like to ask you a few questions about the scholarship.
That's fine.
So, this scholarship was created for socioeconomic diversity, right?
Correct.
This scholarship provided Prairie Lake Preparatory with quite a bit of publicity, right?
Correct.
And because of this scholarship and the fact that you created it, you got a pretty good pay raise, right?
Correct.
So, has every student that has gotten this scholarship graduated?
Correct.
So, what would you say would happen to a counselor if they got a student who was on this this scholarship who didn't graduate?
I don't know what would happen.
No further questions.
Whoa. Is there any redirect on this witness?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez, you're excused with the court's thanks. All right, witnesses, just as a general procedural thing, do not leave the stand until I dismiss you. All right, State, do you have more evidence you'd like to present?
No, Your Honor.
You have more witnesses, right? Yeah.
That's what they're asking. Yes, we would like to call on Casey.
All right, great. Mr. Burke, please take the stand. Sorry, I didn't introduce you to the language. Witness testimony is 10 minutes. All right, wait. Mr. Burke, you understand you've been sworn?
Yes, Your
All
Honor.
right. Sworn right. Okay, proceed.
I'm going to ask you a few questions about who you are. Is that all right? Yes, that's fine. Please state your name to the jury. I am Casey Burke. Please state your profession. I am the Division Chief of Criminal Investigation in the LCPD. What fields are you an expert in? I'm an expert in forensic science. I'm now going to ask you a few questions about what happened the night of May 18th. Is that all right? That is fine. What happened the night of May 18th, 2018? Okay, so that night was essentially the last dance for seniors before finals, and then that night Carly and her friend Dakota Pope were studying for the finals, and then supposedly according to Dakota Pope at around 10:55, she smelled gasoline, and then the dorm lit on fire. Dakota Pope jumped out, and sadly, early the next morning, Carly Walsh passed away due to third-degree burns all over her body and sepsis. Please elaborate on what the defendant has been charged with. The defendant, Alex Buckley, has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of aggravated arson. Please list the evidence that helped you come to your conclusion. Okay, first we have the fingerprints, 2 complete matches of Alex Buckley, a 20-point match, an 18-point match, and a partial print match of Alex Buckley of 7 points. And then we have the eyewitness affidavit of an interview of Dakota Pope, which she said she saw a person running away from the scene, dropping the gas canister that I talked about with the fingerprint matches, wearing a yellow shirt, dark pants, as I'm actually wearing right now. And when we arrested Alex Buckley, he was at the time wearing his gas and go uniform, which was yellow shirt, dark pants. Where did the fire start? According to Dakota Pope, the vicinity of room 321, and when we were doing the fire analysis and mapping out the most destruction, her facts actually checked correctly as it started in the hallway of room 321. How exactly do you know that? We used fire analysis. We took carbon syrups, put it into cans, we heated up the cans, we took the carbon syrup out, the residue arose. We took the residue and put it in the gas chromat. I don't know how to pronounce it that well. And then we noticed it was 87 octane, which is actually found in the gas and go station and also 3 other stations. But at that time, between 9 and 11 p.m. that day, only Gas and Go sold a 1 gallon of gasoline.
Were there any other viable suspects other than the defendant?
At the beginning of the investigation, we had Todd Larkin, but he was at that time was supposed to go to and pack up for his dorm for summer school, and also when we checked the fingerprints on the gas canister left at the scene, we had no matches for Todd Larkin, as we actually had Todd Larkin's fingerprints already in the ISAF.
Yes, you may approach the opposing counsel. Go ahead.
May I approach the witness?
Absolutely.
Are you familiar with this?
I am familiar with it.
Are there any stray markings on the document?
No, there is not.
Have there been any altercations since you've last seen it?
No, looks that way.
Your Honor, may I enter it into evidence?
Yeah, once the witness tells me what it is.
It is the gas canister left on the scene.
All right, any objections? All right, so admitted. You may publish to the jury.
Please give a brief explanation of how fingerprint analysis works.
We compare the similarities of the characteristics of the fingerprint to other people's fingerprints, and yeah, essentially.
What analysis type did you use?
I think we used Dusty.
Please explain what exactly this document is.
It's the gas canister left on the scene. It shows a 20-point match for Alex Buckley, an 18-point match for Alex Buckley, and a partial print matching Buckley with 7 points.
How many fingerprints on the gas canister matched Alex Buckley's?
2 full prints matched Alex Buckley's, 1 partial print matched Buckley's.
Those points, those prints, how many points matched each of them?
Wait, can you repeat the questions?
Those fingerprints on the gas canister, how many points were on each of the prints?
Okay, so the full print, one of them was a 20-point match. For another print, it was an 18-point match, and for the partial print, it was a 7-point match.
How many points do you require to declare a match?
We are personally required 2 full prints matching at least 16 points.
When was 911 called?
It was called at 11:01 p.m.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Great. I'm assuming there's going to be a cross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Before we do the cross, can you all hear what's going on? Yeah? You want me to turn that off? No? Okay. What's up?
Am I allowed to talk to them?
No, not at all.
Oh, yes.
Wait, your team?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, so I can use it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Witnesses that are sequestered, you are outside of the room. Do not give notes to your attorneys. That is a no-no. Defendant, you are allowed to pass notes to your attorneys. They are defending you. Sure. Yeah, can you turn the fan down?
It's kind of bothering me a tiny bit.
Can we just turn the fan down on that? There's like a fan speed button. And then if it gets stuffy in here, we can open up that window. There's a button that says fan speed. Is that better? Block lighter? Okay. Cool. Alright. You ready, buddy? Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask you about the gas container, alright?
Mm-hmm.
Container held the same type of gas sold at Gas and Go, correct?
That is correct.
Alex Buckley works at Gas and Go, correct?
Yes, he does.
Are you aware of 1 gallon of gas? 1 gallon of gas in a gas container being, and a rental gas container being purchased at Gas and Go while Alex Buckley was working?
Yes, Mr. Cal.
Alex Buckley's fingerprints were found on the container, correct?
Yes, 2 full prints matching 20 points. One full print matching 20 points, another print matching 18 points, and a partial print matching 7 points to Buckley.
It would make sense that Alex Buckley's fingerprints would be on the container if Alex Buckley gave the container to whomever bought it, correct?
Yes, and it would also make sense that his fingerprints on the gas container if he did the crime. Right?
If whomever bought the container wore gloves, their fingerprints would not be on the container, correct?
Yes, but it's not a fact that someone bought gloves.
Now I'll ask you about Todd Larkin.
Mm-hmm.
Is this document already in evidence?
No, it's not. Don't worry about it. Just move on.
Petition of prison counsel?
Yes. Show the directing order.
Permission to approach the witness?
Yes.
May I enter this evidence?
Once you go through the process of establishing the document.
Can you please identify what that is?
It is the text messages between Todd Larkin and Carly Walsh.
Okay, now enter this.
Not yet. What else do you have to do? Alright, you know what,
Alright.
any objections, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, well, 2,
Objection, hearsay.
okay. We're gonna skip over the procedural objections, we'll pretend that the document itself is authentic, unless you have an objection to him not laying that foundation. I'll hear the hearsay or can you move? I need to see her. Okay, do you have any objections to how the document was entered into evidence, brought forth towards the court?
Not into how it was entered.
Okay, alright, so your objection is solely based on hearsay?
Yes.
Okay, to the document in its entirety, or,
To the document.
alright, response?
How do threatening text messages to somebody who is being murdered?
Counsel, speak to me. Speak to me.
Oh,
This is exhibit
nine.
9, okay.
It's in court, so it's not hearsay.
I haven't heard any of these words in court before, so it still falls under hearsay. How is exhibit 9 not hearsay?
It's to do with it's the opposing counsel under sections hearsay and 3.
803 what? Which prong under 803? You can confer with your counsel. Alright, I'm gonna give you about a minute. Don't touch my phone.
Awesome.
Good door. Thank you. All right, council, what's your response?
This falls under 803, 5 record recollection because he can't fully testify to this.
Okay. Why? Okay. Do you have a response to 8035?
Yes, it was not written as a reminder to Carly Walsh, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. All right. 8035 doesn't work here, dude. Do you have any other response? Okay. The objection sustained. All right, council, your time's running.
Okay. You said that Todd was not a viable suspect because he was scheduled to move into his summer dorm the weekend of the murder, correct?
That is true.
The murder was committed on the Friday before the weekend at around 11 p.m., correct?
Yes, that is true.
It takes 4 hours to drive from Prairie Lake Preparatory Academy to Eden University, where Todd is moving into, correct?
That is 100% true.
So it would be possible to take off at around 11 p.m. on a Friday to drive 4 hours and arrive on Saturday in time to move in to a dorm, correct?
He started to move in actually on, I'm pretty sure, May 18th. So,
Just to clarify, you said that he was scheduled to move in on May 18th.
yes, May 18th through May 21st.
All right, defense counsel, are you about to impeach the witness?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can we expedite this process a little bit?
What?
Can we make this process go a little bit quicker?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So, are you sure you just said that he was scheduled to move into a dorm on May 18th?
Yes, May 18th through May 21st, that's what I said.
Okay. May I approach the witness with affidavit of Ginsburg?
Yes, I think you're only holding one sheet of that report. If you're going to
Yeah.
approach the witness with this report, I'm going to have to ask you to do it with all of his report. So pages 26 through 30. Counsel, do you need a copy? Okay. Jake, do you have a copy of the witness's report?
We do just pay for all of this.
Okay. Show opposing counsel what you're about to show the witness. Okay. You can proceed.
All right. Okay. Permission to approach the
Yes.
witness.
What line is it?
I think it's in the last paragraph. So,
Do you have a copy for yourself?
Yes.
Fish? Do you need one?
yeah.
It does say May 18th on it. I don't feel that.
Okay. Don't answer questions unless you're asking. Or don't answer unless you're asked questions. Move on.
Okay. Now I'll talk to you about the investigation.
Okay.
So, you didn't conduct any of the interviews, correct?
I did not. My officers did. I trust them.
You didn't conduct any forensics other than fire analysis, correct?
That is correct. My officers did. I trust them.
And in your report, you did not even mention the black SUV, which was
Continue.
the black SUV, which is found at the scene of the crime and moved on slightly after.
Wait, can you just repeat it? Because you're talking.
In your report, you did not even mention once about the black SUV, which vanished shortly after the crime. And that was stated in the police reports.
Wait, what? Can you rephrase it, please?
In your investigation,
Mm-hmm.
you did not once even mention the black SUV, which was reported in the police reports that Pope saw.
Wait, can you repeat it again?
In your report, you did not once ever mention the black SUV, which was reported to flee the scene of the crime shortly after. Correct.
So you're talking about the black SUV.
Yes, I meant the dark
Okay.
SUV.
Witness, let's not ask opposing counsel any questions.
Okay. That was just clarifying.
Okay. So, and you didn't even try to find out who owned the car, correct?
Yeah, never tried to find out. You don't even know if it was Todd Watkins.
So, even though you did no forensic science other than fire analysis, no interviews, and did nothing about the SUV in the police report, you're still the one who conducted the investigation?
I oversaw it. I trust my men. They did the fingerprint analysis. I trust them.
That's all.
Alright. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Alright. Children, let's pause the mock trial for a second. Okay, I know we just got back from lunch. We're de-stressed because I stressed this morning. Alright, let's remember that we're trying to imitate a courtroom. Let's at least pretend to be serious, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Alright. State, will there be a redirect on this witness?
No, you're not.
Okay. Mr. Burke, you're excused with the court's thanks.
Do I just hold on?
Leave it on.
Okay.
Alright. State, do you have any more evidence you'd like to present?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
We call Mr. Dakota back to the stand.
Okay. Alright, wait, before we proceed, defense counsel, you have my copy of Burke's report. I want it back. Alright, I'm missing a page. I need a copy of page 26. Alright. Everybody on the same page? We got our benches somewhat organized? Alright. Cool. You may proceed.
Thank you. Howard Smith. I'm going to ask you a few questions about your relationship with Miss Carla Walsh, okay? Okay. So, how do you know Carla?
We've been best friends for the past couple years.
Okay, thank you. So, how does Carla usually act?
She is normally very sweet and kind to people.
Thank you. So, what was the award that Carly wanted so very bad?
She was working towards winning the Williamson Scholarship.
Okay. And what did that scholarship grant cover?
If she won, she would have gotten a full ride to any college of her choice.
Now I'm going to ask you a few questions about Alex Buckley, okay? Okay. So, do you know where Alex Buckley worked?
Yes, he worked with gas and building high school.
Would you recognize a picture of that uniform?
Yes.
Your Honor, can I approach opposing counsel?
You may.
May I first
go
witness?
ahead. Go ahead.
Do you recognize any stray marks on this piece of paper?
No.
Any things that you didn't notice before?
No.
So you would say that that is just the same copy that you saw last night, right? Fair. Your Honor, can I enter this into evidence?
Once the witness tells me what it is.
So what, of course, sorry. So what is that you're holding right there?
This is the gas and building uniform that I have seen Alex Buckley anymore.
Okay. So Your Honor, can I enter this into evidence?
Any objections?
No. No, Your Honor.
All right. So entered. You may publish to the jury.
So I can address the
Yes.
jury. Okay. Now, Ms. Bell, do you know Alex Buckley's relationship with Carly?
They used to study together and they seemed like acquaintances. I wouldn't necessarily say friends, but I know they studied together. But after senior year started, they weren't really anything anymore.
Did Alex Buckley act any specific way towards Carly after senior year?
What do you mean by that?
Like, did he turn more like aggressive or kind or nice or any of that?
Yes, he seemed a little more rude towards
Objection, Your
Carly.
Honor.
Yes.
Before we more prejudice and probative, the opposing counsel has just stated, did the victim Carly Walsh act, or did the defendant Alex Buckley act aggressive towards Carly Walsh?
All right. How is this probative?
I was just asking. I was giving examples to the witness of any way that Alex Buckley acted towards Carly Walsh. So I wasn't trying to give the jury a pre-made decision.
Okay. Response?
Your Honor, the opposing counsel laid no foundation to those accusations.
Okay. Is there an issue of dispute here? Do you believe that Alex Buckley was or was not doing the actions that this witness just testified to?
No, Your Honor.
So you're not contesting the truth value of what she's saying?
Excuse me?
Are you contesting that what she's saying is true or not?
No, we are not.
Are you trying to tell the court that the witness has an unclear recollection of what what is being said?
No, we are saying that the opposing counsel has assumed character of judging with no prior knowledge and laying no foundation to the character of Alex Buckley, the defendant.
Okay. So the objection's overruled, but I would like to hear more foundation as to how this witness knows this information.
Of course, Your Honor. So, are there any examples of Alex Buckley acting any way towards Carly in senior year?
Yes, in the fall semester of our senior year, Carly would invite Alex to study because she would have study groups for everyone for a test, and he would say comments like he's not going to help her steal the Williamson scholarship from him, and that she shouldn't need his help to ace the test. And there was one instance in the spring when we got our test results and Carly scored higher than Alex and he punched a wall and fractured his hand.
Okay, thank you. Now, did Alex Buckley, now I'm gonna ask you some questions about the 9th incident, okay? Okay. So, what time did you arrive at Carly's door?
Shortly after 9 p.m.
Okay, okay. So, do you know how long you were there?
A little under 2 hours.
Okay. So, when did you see the gasoline coming up from underneath the door?
Carly had called me over to her computer to watch something, and I thought I smelled it, but I wasn't sure, and then I saw it come under the door.
Okay. So, when the fire started, what was just going through your head?
I was mainly thinking about we need to get out of there. How are we gonna get out of there? The sprinklers weren't coming on anymore.
Oh, okay. So when you realized that there was only one way out, how did you and Carly, what did you and Carly proceed to do? Excuse me.
I opened the window and I helped Carly over. I told her to go first. She wouldn't because of her cat. She unlocked her phone and gave it to me and told me to go, and I did.
Okay. So when Carly told you to jump out the window, did you ever second guess yourself?
What do you mean by that?
Did you ever think like this may not be the right thing to do?
I knew we had to get out of there, so I knew one of us would have to go, but I wanted it to be Carly.
Okay. So when you jumped out the window and you landed on the ground, what exactly happened?
I landed very hard on my right side, and I ended up breaking my right leg and my wrist, and I couldn't move. And I saw someone walking, like rapidly walking away, and I called out to them, and they didn't answer. They were wearing something very similar to this, a yellow collared shirt and dark colored pants, and carrying a red gas canister.
Okay. So you said that you saw an individual that you believe to be the perpetrator leave the scene just now, correct? So, what was he wearing again?
He was wearing something just like this, a yellow collared shirt and dark pants.
Okay. So, was the believed perpetrator carrying anything?
Yes, he was carrying a red gas canister that he dropped when I called out, and he started going faster and he dropped it.
Okay. So, who were the two individuals that saved you from the flaming building, or dragged you away, rather?
Anna Lewis and Don Zakek.
Okay, so what was it like in those 5 minutes until authorities arrived?
Well, they dragged me away from the building, and I was shaking and I was hurt, and I was like, we need to get Carly out, and I was really worried about her.
Yeah. So when you saw Carly come out of the building on the stretcher, what happened? What was happening?
I couldn't immediately recognize that it was her because of the burns, but I saw the remnants of the cast on her leg, and I knew that it was her.
Okay. So how did it feel when you were in the hospital and no one would tell you what happened to Carly?
It was terrifying.
Objection, Your Honor, forward to relevance. How is it relevant how the witness felt when they were away from the scene of the fire?
Alright, yeah, counsel, how's this relevant?
Sorry. No response.
No response? Okay, suspended. You will disregard the evidence from witness about how she felt after the attack.
Finally, what was it like when you found out that Carly, your best friend, had died?
I was very distraught and upset, and I felt awful.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Alright. Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Alright, get yourself ready, but don't start asking questions just yet.
May I approach the witness?
Hold on. Alright, you may proceed.
I'm gonna ask you some questions pertaining to when you escaped the fire. Is that okay?
Yes.
There was smoke in the dorm, correct?
Yes.
You inhaled the smoke?
Some.
After you inhaled the smoke, you jumped out of the dorm, correct?
Yes.
You jumped out of a 3-story dorm, correct?
Yes.
You landed pretty hard, correct?
Yes, I broke my leg in it.
It hurt a lot, correct?
Yes.
You couldn't move.
No, I hurt too much.
You couldn't breathe properly, correct?
Well, yeah.
You were panicking.
Yes.
You were in a worried state, correct?
About Carly, yes.
You were in a shocked state.
What do you mean?
Sorry, let me rephrase. in a shocked state.
Alright, council, pause. Your objection to 402 was about this witness and their state after the attack happened, or after the incident happened, right?
Yes.
Okay, I sustained that objection, so move on from this testimony.
Okay. May I proceed?
Yes.
So after a hard landing, in pain, panicking, your vision wasn't perfect, correct?
I don't think my vision was okay.
So you're saying, okay. And in such a state, you couldn't see of the person's face, correct?
Not their face.
Or what hand they were using?
No.
And you couldn't even tell if what the person was wearing was the Gas and Go uniform, correct?
I couldn't see a logo.
But you could not tell if it was exactly the Gas and Go uniform, correct?
Correct.
So, now I'm gonna ask you some questions about dorm curfew. You use student IDs to get into the building, correct?
Yes.
And these IDs allow you to access any building until 10 p.m. on weekdays, correct?
Yes.
And until 11:30 on Fridays, correct?
Yes.
Ms. Pope, are you aware that the door was propped open that day?
I was told.
Because the door was propped open, anyone could enter the dorm, correct?
Yes.
Even people who weren't students could enter the dorm, correct? Now I'm gonna ask you some questions pertaining to Todd Larkin's relationship to Carly. Is that okay?
Yes.
What was Todd's relationship to Carly?
They dated before Todd graduated.
Todd would force Carly to skip study groups to spend time with him, correct? Carly had bruises on her arms, correct?
Yes, she told me it was from soccer, but I had other suspicions.
And months later, after soccer season had ended, you confronted her, correct?
Yes, I did.
She admitted that the bruises were from Todd, correct? She also admitted that Todd would grab her, correct?
Yes.
He would even hit Carly. Todd sent Carly texts during the summer of 2017, correct?
Yes.
Opposing counsel? Your Honor, may I proceed?
Yes.
Ms. Pope, what is this?
These are text messages from Todd Larkin to Carly.
Has anything changed?
No.
Is it the same as you saw before?
Yes.
May I proceed with questions?
Which exhibit are we looking at?
We're looking at Exhibit 9,
Okay, exhibit 9.
page 56.
Okay, you all attempted to enter this evidence earlier, or was it them?
No.
It was them? Okay. Any objections?
Yes, Your Honor.
Two?
802 hearsay.
Okay. Response?
It's not hearsay because it's offered against the opposing party, and the out-of-court statement is said by the opposing counsel, the witness.
These text messages were written by the state of Illinois?
No, it was written by a witness on the opposing counsel.
Okay, that doesn't matter.
Further.
That doesn't matter.
No?
Your party opponent is the state of Illinois, not the witnesses on the stand. So do you have any other response to hearsay?
May I?
Yes. Yes.
Under 8035 record recollection, Dakota Pope, it's a record that the witness once knew about, but now cannot recall well enough to testify.
Response?
This is not sorry, I can't pronounce it.
It's okay.
She remembers that she has a saying that she recognizes it.
So she could remember every text, she could remember every text
Okay.
on that.
Let's pause. 8035 doesn't let evidence in. The jury can't see documents that are coming in under 8035. It's only to memory refresh the witness. So if that's all you're using this document for, is there another response on 8035 that you have?
Excuse me, Your Honor.
She is trying to admit this document under recorded recollection. Is there something you want to say about how this document is not a recorded recollection?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
The witness clearly understands and remembers those text messages. She in no way forgot them.
Okay. Are these text messages between this witness on the stand and another person?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have a response to 8035 or any other hearsay exceptions
Yes,
for why this isn't hearsay?
8035.
Okay.
It's a record that accurately reflects on the witness's knowledge of those text messages. Therefore, she can use it to testify fully to her knowledge.
Okay. One more response.
8035 is record prohibition. Something like that.
Okay.
I can't pronounce what I'm saying. 8035 is a reminder. So it's not what she just said.
Yeah. Text messages aren't reminders to people otherwise, or unless there's a note that says, hey, if I were to tell my bailiff, remind me to turn off the lights before I leave my room, that would be 8035. This is a conversation. So I'm going to sustain the objection, unless you have another response. Alright, the objection is sustained.
If I ask you questions about those text messages, would you remember them as well? Sorry. Me either.
Yeah.
Tom Larkin said to Carly Walsh, you better not stop texting me, or else, correct? Remember? He also said, you don't even know how bad you messed up. Just wait and see what happens, correct? He even said, you better take me back before I have to hurt you, correct? Carly Walsh was hurt
Objection, Your
tonight.
Honor.
Okay.
She can't talk about this if it's not entered in evidence.
That's correct. Yeah, don't talk about specifics of documents that I've sustained the objection on. You can talk about the existence of these messages. The jury will disregard any specific statements coming out of those text messages. You may proceed.
That's right. The text messages that Carly showed you were threatening, correct? Carly Walsh was hurt the night of May 18th, correct?
Yes.
She was hurt so bad, she died, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Rule 701.